Jamie Raskin thought he had Robert Hur trapped. But the second Hur fired back with, "I followed the law, not politics," the entire hearing changed. Because suddenly, this was no longer about Joe Biden. It became a brutal fight over whether investigators should soften the truth to protect powerful politicians. The tension in this room got uncomfortable fast. Raskin kept accusing Hur of intentionally damaging Biden politically. Hur kept refusing to bend. And the harder Democrats pushed, the more attention they accidentally dragged back to the one issue they desperately wanted people to stop talking about: Biden's memory.
This hearing exploded almost immediately. Jamie Raskin walked in clearly trying to paint Robert Hur as politically motivated. You could hear it in his tone from the very beginning. He was not just criticizing Hur's report, he was accusing him of deliberately hurting Joe Biden politically. And honestly, the strategy was obvious. Democrats knew the moment Hur's report became public, the entire conversation around classified documents instantly shifted into something far more dangerous politically. Biden's mental sharpness. That became the real story overnight, and Raskin wanted everybody focused on her instead. So he started hammering one point over and over again. You knew exactly what you were doing. Raskin argued Hur could have simply described Biden forgetting certain documents or dates, specific examples, specific moments, but instead, Hur used broader language, describing Biden as an elderly man with a poor memory. And Democrats hated that wording because they knew how devastating it sounded politically. Raskin kept pressing harder. You had to know this would create a political firestorm. And honestly, that was the moment the hearing changed, because Hur never lost his composure, not once. No anger, no panic, just calm, cold responses. He kept repeating the same thing over and over. My job was to write a complete report, not a politically edited version, not a sanitized version safe for campaign season, a complete report. And that is what completely frustrated Democrats during this hearing, because every time Raskin tried framing Hur as political, Hur pulled the conversation right back to rules, DOJ procedure, and legal obligations. Then the exchange became even more intense when Trump entered the conversation. Raskin tried shifting focus toward Trump's classified documents case. He pointed out allegations involving subpoenas, concealment, and obstruction, and legally, that distinction mattered. Hur admitted he found nothing similar involving Biden, but politically, it did not help Democrats nearly as much as they hoped, because voters were no longer focused on legal technicalities. They were focused on the memory issue, and every second Democrats spent attacking Hur's wording only reminded people of the wording itself. That was the trap. Then came the line that completely changed the room. Hur looked directly at Raskin and basically said, "What you are suggesting is that I sanitize or omit parts of my reasoning for political reasons." That landed hard because suddenly the hearing was no longer just about Biden. It became about whether justice officials should edit reports to protect politicians from embarrassment. And honestly, that is dangerous territory for both parties. Now, people can absolutely debate whether Hur's wording was too broad, too harsh, or politically explosive. That debate is fair. But the reason this hearing exploded online is because millions of Americans realized something much bigger was happening underneath all the yelling. This was a fight over whether the public should hear unfiltered conclusions about the President of the United States, or whether political consequences should shape what investigators are allowed to say. And once people realized that was the real argument, the entire energy inside that hearing changed instantly. Because no matter which side people supported politically, almost everybody watching understood one thing. Washington was no longer arguing about facts alone. It was arguing about who gets to control the narrative after the facts come out.